Hello everyone, welcome back. So at this point, I'm pretty sure many of you have read the new buffs that they're going to give to RedHood. And this is along with the time required for the minigame is cut to half, along with our Outpost collection rate increased from 12 hours to 24 hours. So all three are extremely good news. Good news for us players, especially honestly the quality of life changed with regards to the Outpost in the long term. But with that being said, the dev has decided to increase our RedHood's attack maximum to 51.47%. That is a big increase. As you can see right now, the attack bonus of her burst 3 is going to be 27.8% as of right now. Okay, so if increased to 51.46% means that she will be extremely close to the output of Alice. To how close, you ask? You're assuming that you have decent amount of equipment enhancement and that you have some overload gears. I think most of people calculate this. Okay, so here's the thing. The better your support is on Alice on your team, and the better the gear on your Alice versus the RedHood, the bigger the difference between RedHood and Alice. So the more investment you put into both characters, the more that Alice is going to supersede with RedHood, because Alice's what buffs Alice's damage is actually mostly regards to charge speed, and it's just RedHood herself carries a lot of additional attack, right? So as the better your support gets, the more attack buffs they get, the own attack buff that RedHood gives herself becomes more washed out and become a little bit more saturated. That makes RedHood's damage doesn't scale as well as Alice, as your equipment all get better. However, just because it doesn't scale as well in endgame, it does not mean that she is bad compared to Alice. Okay, so let's cover this really quick. So first of all, against full macro Alice, some people call it gaming chair Alice. Really, it's macro, let's be honest with it. It's full macro Alice, which by the way, the game absolutely discourages it. I do not recommend using macro as well. You are going to get yourself banned. Yes, it is considered cheating for macros users. Don't do it. Period. Okay? However, let's talk about in theory, Alice will be about 25 to 30%. A full macro Alice will be 25 to 30% better than the currently manually fully charged RedHood. Okay, against auto is like, okay, so the difference between auto, let's get this straight out first. The difference between fully auto RedHood versus manually controlled fully charged RedHood is about 2% difference, 1.5% to 2% difference, depends on your cube usage. Honestly, just use RedHood as auto if I were you. Focus on your support and your other DPS and make sure they attack the right target. It's probably a better value return than trying to control RedHood during the normal non-bursting time. The difference is 2%. Okay, max 2%, 1.5 even less on other cubes and other setups. When you do full macro Alice, is better than the RedHood at 25 to 30%. However, that is a useless comparison because you're not going to do full macro. The instant you do macro, the game does detect cheaters. Prepare to be banned, prepare to have your account locked. So that's not our consideration. Okay, second of all, so what's left is assuming you're doing manual fast charge Alice, manual speed click Alice. Or let's be honest here, some people will do macro with variance adjust to the timing. Either way, the various adjustment timing to macros, I still recommend it because it's still cheating after all. But if you're doing that with a comparison to a player that's really good at rhythm games, a player that is really good at Street Fighters, fighting games, anything that has frame perfect timing. Getting the frame timing down to 40-second differences is not hard. Okay, and if you use a 40-second time frame, the difference between Alice on a manual click, it is going to be about 9% better than the auto RedHood. Okay, and if you are at a 50-second, which is if you're slower at people's recommendation calculation of 50-second, a little bit slower, it's only about 2% better. 2 to 3% better. So ultimately, this update has erased the difference between Alice and RedHood in most comparison senses. I mean, for most testing and for most characters, between a 2 to 3% variance, and maximum 8 to 9% if you're really, really, really on top of the game. If you are a 40 millisecond players that can both click the mouse at the same time as tracking the boss perfectly without any problems, without missing a shot, without having any form of misses in a 300-second duration run. Okay, that's really hard to do. It's not impossible. I can probably do it if I need to do a lot of retakes, but for most players' comparisons, speed click Alice is only 2% better. Okay, that is assuming 50-second. That is already 95% of a player base is not going to do that. Let's be completely honest here. The 95% of the player base is not going to be 50 millisecond. Anyone on mobile, anyone on anything else is probably going to be slower than that. So alternatively, RedHood now completely outdamages Alice in most real-world applications. Or I won't say complete outdamage. The same, if not complete outdamage in real-world application, depends on how fast your finger clicks are. Gear-wise, in comparison, Alice investment requires minimum of 4.4% higher charge speed, and she also requires minimum 2+ ammo. That's at 60% or more, but that will bind Alice to the bunny team. If you do not want to stuck Alice with bunny teams, Alice is going to need 3+ ammo minimum. And then you're going to have to try to roll 2 attacks. That is 8. You're going to have to roll 3 attacks for a typical, what people consider high performance Alice. For RedHood, most people just consider 4 attack and 4 charge. Charge rate is going to get you a little bit extra than charge damage. Not that much, almost nothing. The difference between the two is almost nothing. So just honestly, 4 attack, elemental if you want, and just for any other charge stat. You don't need crit, just charge stat, and then you're done. So RedHood is going to be a lot easier to gear up compared to Alice. Alice has specifically 5 OL lines that she's going to absolutely need before she can even perform at her high level values. Okay, but what does this leave Scarlet? The new RedHood is going to be similar to 0.96 Scarlet. Pretty crazy if you ask me. And because Scarlet only does single damage, on bosses that has cores, which is most of the bosses in PvE and a lot of the union raids and solo raid bosses we're having right now, solo raid. This current solo raid is a boss that is made to sell RedHood. I'll be completely honest with you guys. This boss is ridiculous. You can pierce the core along with I think 4 extra parts. So it is a promotional boss to push RedHood in a sense. She is going to be about 0.96 Scarlet, but on any other enemies that has core, which is majority of the enemies and bosses, she's going to be 1.89, well, basically 2 times Scarlet's output. So this basically makes RedHood the best DPS we are going to have in the game, right next to Modernia, right next to Alice, and yeah, it's pretty nuts, the new buffs they give. Okay, but regards to on top of, so you're going to ask, hey, what gear am I gonna get her, right? And what gear am I gonna get her? Due to the new buffs to her kit, I don't think it is it's no longer 7/7/10 for her skills, because you are going to use her for burst 3. She will be a waste if you use her for burst 1 only. This probably makes it a good idea to invest her into 7/10/10, because the second skill buffs her burst a lot. So it's gonna be a 7/10/10 in terms of the skills. It can be 10/10/10 if you want to increase her efficiency even better. But I think a good stopping point is 7/10/10, or even 8/10/10. Cube. Honestly, go with any cube. Even pretty much every single math calc out that the cube on her doesn't matter. The Resilience Bastions is still the top 2 cubes to be used on RedHood. In fact, I think Bastions could be maybe like 2% better than Resilience at some point. The Resilience could be better than Bastions in different situations. Depends on if you have ammo plus ammo, if you don't have plus ammos and stuff. But it is a 2% difference between the two. I would strongly suggest you to just pick between Resilience and Bastions, which one you have more, which one you have a higher level, and just dunk it onto RedHood and call it a day. If you already run out of Resilience and Bastions, Wingman is a good choice, like I have right now, because my other Nikes are using the cubes. Like Bastions is being used by Scarlet, Blanc, Modernia, Guillotine, Alice. Where is my Resilience is currently being used by Dorothy, Pepper, Naga, Annie's, and Rapunzel, right? I mean, Rapunzel is using that because of PvP, but that's pretty much it. So I can probably swap out the Resilience with Rapunzel for that. But other than that, yeah, that's RedHood is going to be one of the easier overload geared to build for the characters, right? Because RedHood just requires 4 attacks, and pretty much anything else it's just tiny increases. Scarlet, in comparison, Scarlet is going to basically, you're going to want to have 4 maximum ammo capacity. Okay, and then you're gonna have to try to get additional 2 attacks and possibly a few crit into her as well. Alice, like I said, is going to be require 5 extra. You're going to need 2 charge speed, 3 ammo plus, and then 2 attack to start behaving well. Summer Annie's is okay. She's not that picky as well. Modernia requires basically 3 maximum ammo capacity most of the times. Probably 4 if you can afford to get to that high. But yeah, overall, RedHood is great. And thank you everyone for watching. Leave your comment down below. I am pretty happy with the new update to her. This means that the dev is actually listening quite a bit, and the 24-hour update means that they're definitely listening to that. And I'm very much looking forward to the 24-hour Outpost, because I always forget. And yeah, with that being said, thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you next time. All right, let's see if I can get the RedHood because I have not gotten anything for 140 polls. Oh, okay. This is the 150th poll. I had to exchange my ticket for her for all 3 tickets. Come on. And the plus. All right, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.